Welcome back to AOL, the Anatomy of Life podcast, a podcast that has a unique perspective on health, resilience, and living with intention, and on a mission to whole person health. Unlike other health and wellness podcasts, this one brings a fresh approach that challenges mainstream ideas and dives into the many dimensions of wellness. Now, before I introduce the guest for this episode, AOL's focus for season 2 is on relationships, both in the way that we as a society talk about relationships, and then also beyond the traditional sense of the word. And this is where we include interactions with healthcare, lifestyle, self-care practices, not only our relationship to ourselves, partners, friends, stress, food, music, education, and creativity, and our healthcare providers, but also our relationship with our finances.
Today's guest is a passionate advocate for women's financial empowerment. The CEO and founder of withMalu Invests, her journey into wealth coaching was sparked during the COVID-19 pandemic, when she built an impressive six-figure investment portfolio while balancing life as a working mother. Fueled by her own transformative experience, she left her corporate career to become the GCC's first entrepreneur dedicated to helping women take control of their finances and investments. Recognized as a Woman of Change award winner, having been featured in Doha News, and is making waves by breaking down barriers to financial literacy, she educates and inspires women to build lasting financial confidence and independence. Today, she's here to share her journey, expertise, and insights on our relationship with money, finances, and investments. This beauty and powerhouse goes by the name Malu Marsault. Welcome, Malu.
Thank you so much, Lexi, for inviting me.
I'm so grateful that you came onto the podcast. I want listeners to get to know you a little bit better. Could you tell us or share your journey from discovering your pregnancy during COVID-19 and then also building the six-figure investment portfolio, where you're from, how long you've been in Doha for, just a little bit about you?
Absolutely. So I've been in Doha for 11 years and a half. That was a long time ago.
Yes.
And I was previously living in France doing my master's degree in hospitality. And so I came to work in a hotel. And I was working for many years. And so life was, always the same. I was completely not in the money thing. Like, I used to leave all finances related things to my husband. And until 2020 came. And that's where I discovered I was pregnant with our third child. And I was very excited. And at the same time was COVID. So the hotel where I was working was one of the first hotels who had decided to become kind of like a hospital for positive patients. And I was in the sales team. So operations team were still there, but there was no need for selling anything anymore. And so we were sent home. I was, alhamdulillah, with full salary for like a year.
Yeah.
But it was still unpredictability because I didn't know for how long that was going to last. And my husband, he's a chef. He's also in hospitality.
Wow.
So, hospitality was labeled as not essential.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were getting fired. So when I told my husband, I put the pregnancy test inside the oven. And I told him when he came from work, hey, babe, I put something in the oven. When he opens the oven, and I was recording him because, that was like the happy memory to
the
show
reaction.
to show my daughter when she would grow up. And his reaction was nothing what I was expecting.
Because of the pressure of COVID.
So he opened and he was like, what is this? Are you pregnant? I was like, yes. And I was still holding my phone. And he was like, what are we going to do? And he was like completely, like you could see in his face, he was completely anxious. Like, what's going to happen? Like, he was like, we don't have any money. Like, what are we going to do? And I was like doing my best to keep it together. But deep down, I was like, this, I don't want to live, like, I don't want to start a pregnancy this way. So I stopped recording, and I remember I went to the toilet. I was like crying. And just thinking like, I need to do something different. Like, we were doing everything that we were supposed to do to be successful. What society tells you that you need to do to be successful. Studied hard, like getting degrees.
Yeah.
working hard, like finding good jobs, working hard, saving your money in the bank.
Yeah.
But yet,
Doing all the things.
yes, we were doing everything, like religiously, everything. Even though we were, like, finances was a topic that was still
Taboo.
we were not financially secure, we were not financially confident. And so this happened, like a baby coming, and it really
Shook your world.
I need to find, like, what money really is about.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that my family is secure, and that we have peace of mind, and that we are really doing the right things. I grew up with a lot of financial struggles.
Same.
My parents were struggling to pay for electricity,
food,
school,
education,
and even hot water. Like, remember being a kid and showering with cold water, because that's what was available.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I remember the cycles of, we have money, we don't have money, we have money, so there was a lot of struggles, and I just knew, I don't want this for my family. I really want to. We want to thrive. We don't want to just survive. And the thing is that we came to Qatar because there is a lot of better opportunities. There is no freaking tax on income. I think we were not taking advantage of that because we just didn't have the education of what to do. And this is something that school doesn't teach us.
And it should be a subject in school. I feel like, yes, you can do the maths, yes, you can do the accounting, but what really is it about investment, and what is it, like financial literacy, it should be called. It should be a subject in school.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. I think, like, there are many things in school that we learn that doesn't serve to anything.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of life skills that are overlooked.
Absolutely. So that anxiety around it sparked you to start to learn about money.
Yes.
And where did you start learning about money?
So I signed up with a coach. I found her on TikTok. On my free time, I was like just scrolling, and I think our telephones are listening to us.
Oh yeah,
right now. So you're gonna get some ads about investment. Actually, before signing up with my coach, I read one book that really changed my life. Have you heard about the book Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yes.
It really changed my life. And I was first introduced to that book when I was in my early 20s. I used to be a French teacher. While studying university, I used to be a French teacher, and one of my students told me about this book, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll read it. And of course, it never happened. And that name I kept seeing it everywhere, and I kept ignoring it. Fast forward to 2020, I received an email, like, suddenly, about Audible, this app, your first audiobook for free. I was like, okay, I have the time. I download the app. I open. Guess what was the first book that came?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes. Okay, Robert.
You're in my face. I'm going to do it.
Stop, like, haunting me. I'm going to read you. And so, oh my gosh, Lexi, you cannot imagine. Once I started reading it, it was like, you know this emoji that it has the brain jumping?
Mind blown.
And I was frantically, like, taking notes. Like,
this is how you know a book was meant for you. When firstly you can't put it down, but everything resonates.
And I was like, I've been living a lie, you know? Like,
we all are living a lie.
Like, we have been playing this life game under different rules.
Oh, yeah.
Not the same rules like the wealthy, the rich people do.
Absolutely.
But
that
the working class and middle class. So I was like, for example, the concept of make your money work for you. I never heard of that. Mm-hmm. I was just putting my money in the bank, and
all we know. Really?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, okay, the bank is more secure than under my mattress, so that's progress.
Okay, so I must be doing well. How do you define financial health?
Financial health, there is like the numerical way to measure financial health, which is by knowing your net worth.
Okay.
So the net worth is the numerical indication of financial health. A net worth is when you compare all the things that you own maybe you have a car, maybe you have a house, you have a bank account with some money in it, a crypto account, whatever you have.
Yeah.
All the things that you could sell for money, all your
Okay.
possessions.
Yeah.
And then on another column, you will have all your debts. And so the idea is that you have more possessions than debt. And that is an indication of financial health. I'll give you one example. Like for example, there is people that can have a luxurious car and a big house, but then credit card debt could be
Humongous.
like even larger what you have. If you are like spending more than you earn to fund a luxurious lifestyle,
Yes.
your financial health is going to be very unhealthy if it's on the negative.
Yes.
So the idea, that's a numerical part, but I definitely think we need to consider into the equation of what financial health is, what's going on in our mind, how we feel about money, because there is so many people that have a lot of money and yet they feel
unhappy.
And they're still living in scarcity.
So hearing you talk about financial health, there's more than just numbers.
Absolutely.
You were saying that it's also health and people have scarcity, but why is it so important for overall well-being?
Because I think finances really can fuel the rest of your life. Having money means that you can afford therapy, improve your financial health. You can afford a relationships coach that can help you in your marriage. You can afford having a personal trainer, a nutritionist, like
all the things that you need in your life that could better your life and make it more fulfilled.
Yeah,
wholeheartedly
absolutely.
fulfilled.
Like how many people really would be needing of a coach to solve certain traumas, etc. Just be better in life. But one thing that stops them is
money.
Is money. And also, I think money gives you time freedom
and access.
Yes, and that way, like, you can do whatever you want with your time.
100%.
I mean,
I'm a huge advocate for freedom of time.
Yeah.
You know, you want to make money when you are not doing anything. And I remember being a personal trainer, I still am a personal trainer, but selling my time. And then you become a slave. When you sell your time, you just become a slave. So I'm a huge advocate for freedom of time. It's the biggest investments for you. It's also like it's the most fulfilling thing when you can do whatever you want with your time.
I remember when I had a life coach, she asked me, what do you love? What are your hobbies? What are the things, if you had all the time in the world, all the money in the world, what would you do? And my mind went blank. Like, I didn't even
I've never
know
thought about it.
I didn't even know what I loved anymore. What were my hobbies? I had no hobbies. I have no time for hobbies.
Yes. I have to survive.
Yes, I'm just working nonstop, you know? So I think that when we manage to use the money that we do working to buy investments that grow in time and that eventually that will fully fund our living expenses, then you have the most precious asset which is your time. Because you can lose money, but once you lose time, one time is gone forever.
Absolutely.
So imagine, like, if you could do anything that lights your heart, your soul in this world. Like, how many people are so talented in many things, but they choose to do something else because that pays the bills.
So what are the first steps someone can take to overcome fear or overwhelm around managing money?
I think like one of the first steps is to find the right guidance. I would say read the books or watch YouTube, but there is a difference between, you can take a lot of hours figuring everything out by yourself, but why not take a shortcut? I took a shortcut.
Enlist in a coach.
Yeah. The first step that I literally took was to make an investment in myself and learn from someone that is already doing the thing and that is being successful with that. That way I can,
you can read a book, but you can't ask the question to the book.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you have a coach, you can ask your questions to your coach.
And we have all different circumstances. When I was reading the books and following even like some courses, they were like tailored for people in the US. Most of the people, like Robert Kiyosaki, and like they will talk about 401ks and stuff,
Yes.
but that doesn't apply to me. So it's important to have a community and a mentor that can help you fast track, so you can get results right now. You want to have your money working for you as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Not in like 2-3 years, and maybe like if you're only by yourself, which is doable. I'm not saying it's not doable, it's doable, but there is more chances to throw in the towel because it was overwhelming and you had no one to as a support system. And I think having a support system is so important, because sometimes even your partner cannot be on the same page. Many of my students, they sign up without telling their partners.
And what do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Sometimes
because that actually leads me to, what are the common beliefs about money that hold people back, especially women?
Yeah, so sometimes when there was previous bad experiences with money, for example, one of my students, her husband, lost a lot of money in the 2008 financial crisis.
Crash, yes.
And so another person that I know also lost a lot of money in an investment. And so they say, oh, investing is, like I should stay away from it.
Yeah.
But they made mistakes that would not happen if you learn how to do it. Like it's like jumping on the pool without knowing how to swim.
Yeah, exactly.
Your chances of drowning is just
huge.
Like
100%.
So that's why a lot of them, they still believe it's important also to think that a lot of people are being successful at investing. How come, like if investing wasn't a thing, or it was like you will lose your money absolutely, it wouldn't exist.
Yeah,
like, it wouldn't be such a thing.
It wouldn't be a thing.
There must be a right way to do it.
Like everything in life. I also find that with women, we still have the stigma of finances being a male-dominated industry.
Yes.
And that it's a man's thing,
Mm-hmm.
I come, luckily, I'm grateful for. My mom was a working mom, and she was the main breadwinner in our house. So I grew up with a mother that she provided basically all my necessities for me. So I came into my marriage and my relationships being, I need to be earning a lot of money. I don't rely on a man. But I know a lot of women that didn't have the same upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same token, I had a lot of financial trouble growing up. My mom, she had a good way of working with money, enough to support us, but we didn't have a fallback. We didn't have a plan B. We didn't have a trust fund, that we could fall back on. And so finances played a big role in my life, my entire life, from not having it to having it to not having it to having it. And like you were saying, it's the cycle that just, we had money, we didn't, we didn't. And I want to get to the point for not only our listeners and the clients that we coach, but for ourselves, the freedom. So that brings me to, how can we start reframing our mindset to see money as a tool for empowerment rather than stress?
Right. So I think it's important to get to that point where we feel financially secure, aside from the mindset and believing that we are worthy of abundance, is to have a plan, to have certain concepts, or like to know the basic financial literacy that will allow us to build that future. Because yes, we can believe in abundance, we can believe in ourselves, but if we don't have the blueprint, then it's gonna come like a guesswork. We want to have a strategy, like a proven strategy, to know exactly like what is that freedom number, what is that number I'm aiming for. Because it's not just
it's not a fictitious, like
it has to, you need to have a number, a fixed number, and to have that number, is important to think about what is the type of lifestyle that I want to live, and then reverse engineer. And by knowing how much is your risk tolerance, and to reach that number, like how much you need to start investing every single month, knowing when I say your risk tolerance, it's related to how much is the rate of return that you can expect to have every year.
Okay.
So that's how we work it.
I want to go into some investing basics. And how would you explain investing to someone with no financial background?
Right. So to explain investing is really the definition of making your money work for you, which basically means that you are buying things that will grow up in value.
And pay you back in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, for example, instead of putting your money at the bank, which is staying still
Yeah.
and not earning almost anything, like you could invest in a business, like for example,
Microsoft.
Google, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Like these companies are growing. They are chasing technology and growth and artificial intelligence. So the idea is to look for those industries that are growing and what are the top companies that are, driving that innovation. And then we can park our money in a diversified group of companies. So when they grow, you grow.
Yeah.
If they grow 20% in a year, your money will grow 20%. One really strong power to taking control of your investments is that you will choose the best investments that are good for you. A lot of people, they will invest through banks or
Yes.
wealth management companies, and you don't have full control, and very often they will choose investments that will make them money, not you. I know firsthand. I mean,
Yes.
firsthand because I met one person here in Qatar that works in a very renowned bank it's like one of the most famous banks here, and they are. She was in the investments department, handling the investments of people here.
Yeah.
This bank is very proactive, like invest with us. And she was telling me her son was going the same nursery as my son, so that's how we met.
Yes.
And she was telling me, Malu, to be honest with you, we are encouraged to do transactions just to rack up the fees. Yes, and I was like, you are blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Like, she told me we have revenue targets.
You
Because
hold your
people are financially uneducated, they will never question the bank, and there is no transparency.
And we wouldn't know to ask the questions.
Yeah.
We wouldn't know
Exactly.
to. We're just like, it's part of the finances. That's what happens.
They are
No.
the experts.
Exactly.
And it's like when we go to a doctor and we just follow blindly what the doctor says.
I love that you just said that, because as a health coach, this is one of, again, I've just done, I work alongside the medical field, but anyone that knows me, I do love the doctors. They have a place in the world, but I very much coach people to advocate for themselves when they're in a doctor's room.
So yeah, that is the truth of the financial industry. And also something that is really important is that when we just trust our money to someone else to manage, we don't know where that money is going, and sometimes they can give you investments that might be profitable, but they are not aligned with your values.
Yes.
And there are certain other projects that may be in the crypto related, in the decentralized finance, that they are much more risky, and a lot of them, they are Ponzi schemes.
Yeah.
But the stock market is
almost ironclad.
It's safe when you have the right strategy.
Yes, and the education. So we want to talk practical tips, and men, I'm not leaving you out, but I just want practical tips for mostly women. What are the most significant barriers women face in taking control of their finances, and how can they overcome these barriers?
I think the number one barrier is believing we can't do it.
Yeah.
I think that is the number one, and it really comes from generations of having women on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Men went to the moon before women were able to have a bank account, access to a mortgage, and
Isn't that crazy?
Like it's crazy. And there is studies about, for example, the media. When it's a study by Starling Bank in the UK, where they analyzed, for example, 300 articles in magazines that were directed to women and men. The language used for women is completely different than the topics and the language used for men. Women is like, you are a reckless spender. Here is how to save your money, and for men is more like, here is like the latest investments, here's how to build wealth, you are the breadwinner. So there is a lot of subliminal messages that really build up in our subconscious mind. And because there is no financial education, we repeat patterns that come from our parents and caregivers and people we grow up around. So it is huge, because when there is like a collective mentality about their gender role, and plus the lack of representation in the financial landscape, we believe that certain activities are for certain people.
Yes.
And when we don't see women, it's easy to think this is not for me. And you know what is mind-blowing is that despite women being kept on the sidelines for so many years, like most of the modern history, and also the fact that we needed them most because we live longer than men, and the moment women get into money, we outperform men. It is mind-blowing how, like, countless studies shown that women are better investors than men. Women fund managers lose less money than male fund managers. CEO company males, women CEOs, they are outperforming male CEOs.
And why do you think that is?
You know, women, we have this really innate capacity to be great with money. For the investing thing, it has to do with hormones and the biochemicals, because testosterone is the hormone of overconfidence, and overconfident people will take more risks than they can afford. And women, we have a tendency to evaluate better, because we don't want to take, we don't want just to screw the things that we are building. We are, by nature, we are nurturers. And you know what is something that really blew my mind that I discovered a few weeks ago? There is this study by Altrata that they studied billionaires in general, and women billionaires dedicate 70% of their wealth to improve communities, to like have an impact in healthcare, arts, in just the community. And 70% of male billionaires, they use their funds for hobbies and sports. I'm not against that. It's just the fact that I think
you're building communities here. We're building communities.
Yes, and this is why I am so passionate about helping women, because it's not just because we need it the most. By justice, we need to keep up with the game, but we are changing the world. We create impact. It's not just that we make more money for ourselves. We are creating an impact in our communities. When women win, everyone wins.
We are in the GCC, so wherever you're hearing this podcast, Malu and I live in a country called Qatar. We're in a city called Doha, and it forms part of the GCC. So I want to talk about the GCC perspective. As the first GCC entrepreneur focused on women's financial empowerment, what unique challenges do you see in this region?
I think one of the challenges that I see in this region is how easy it is to spend money. You have a lot of perks. There is no tax again. There is, salaries that are higher than in other regions in the world. But at the same time, because there is no plan for majority of people, and this is something I was thinking this morning, we don't really take advantage of that. Like, if we put in our heads that, okay, I am going to pay to myself like 30% as if there was a tax. In other countries, how much is the tax on revenue? It depends on the country, but it could be anywhere from 20 to 40%, and in other countries even more. So what if we live by that rule? That means that we are living above our means, right?
Correct.
Because other people, they have the gross salary and then the net salary after tax, and they're making their life with the net salary. We receive our gross, which is all for us. Impose yourself a tax, because if we don't do that, we are literally living above our means.
This is my main concern, not only for my clients that I coach, but for myself as well. And I want one day, if I have a child, I want to be able to show my child, you don't have to worry about mom. Mom's got mom. You go and you worry about you. And I've taught you and I've given you the tools so that you can also become financially literate. And that's generational cycles that we break here.
Exactly. I think that there are so many expats here that made lots of efforts to come, and a lot of them, they need to take care of their parents, need to take care of themselves, and they want to take care of their children. So imagine being in the position of having to be in the cycle breaker, but still deal with 3 generations.
Yes. That's intense.
That's a lot, and saving is not going to cut it.
How do seeing as you're talking about generations, how do cultural factors influence women's relationship with money in the GCC?
So that is a very interesting question. So here in the GCC, I think we have a big expat community, and then there is, like the locals.
Yeah.
And when it comes, for example, to the expat community, I think that even though we might come from different backgrounds, there is always the same stories that keep repeating of women being kept aside.
But the overall, what I used to get from it is a level of control. Because if a woman doesn't have money, you have to rely on someone else. And this is a control factor.
Absolutely. And especially when we are here, like a lot of women, that there is a sponsorship system, right? So a lot of women like myself, I am here under the sponsorship of my husband.
Yeah.
And I know that for many women, to be able to say no to certain situations, or if the marriage isn't working, if you don't have your finances together,
you're stuck.
Yeah, you are stuck. I know people that are in exactly that situation. They are not in a loving relationship. They just can't leave.
I think the fear for a lot of women is, once I become financially literate, do I then want to leave my husband? No, it's not the case. It's just about having information and the freedom to do with it as you please.
Absolutely. So, and there is something that I think is very powerful, and a reason for the guys that are listening to encourage their spouses to be financially free is the fact that if your wife is financially free and she is with you, is because she's choosing you, not because she has no other option.
Yeah.
It's because I'm with you because I want
to be here with you, doing life with you.
I read one definition of happiness from the book The Psychology of Money. Really, like, you are happy when you are able to do the things that you want with whoever you want for as long as you want. So it's just that freedom to really choose what you want for your life. So it's really gifting yourself the possibility to choose for yourself.
The biggest message I hear through a lot of my guests is choice, options and choice. And, when I got on my journey, and I remember during that time that I wouldn't want to choose to be in that situation, just like I wouldn't want to choose to be in any difficult situation. There's always a pivotal moment. But had I not gone through that, I don't think I would have chosen to do these things. But thankfully, I am thankful I went through that hard time, because it made me stronger, and it forced me to realize that choice is empowering, and I need to choose every day, every moment of the day. Every step I take, I have to be making choices. I used to live in this delusional world, everything else around me would just happen, or there was no choice. If someone told me to do that, I had to do that. And now I'm in a different mindset. I'm like, there's a choice here. Do I want to do it? Does it help me serving not only my community, but myself, my husband, my family, my loved ones? Choice, 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 choice. How can mothers model a healthy financial behavior for their children?
Wow, that is a very important question. And I think really the most important way to change generations is to become that person. Because our kids, they don't do what we tell them to do, they do what we do.
Yes, we model for them naturally.
Exactly. Yeah. So if we are open discussing about money, if we have a healthy relationship with money, and that has to do with how we feel about money, how we feel when we have it, how we feel when we don't have it, how we overcome money challenges as a family, if we are fighting about money, if we are addressing it in a healthy way. Actually, 90% of our money relationship comes from the first 7 years of our lives. It's not about teaching them, like the effort of teaching them things, but it's how we are as parents with money that is going to shape their beliefs about abundance, scarcity. And so by age 8, they already have most of their money beliefs that is going to rule how they behave with money in the future.
You know, back in the day, we obviously had bank accounts and things like that, but my mom had an envelope system. So what that meant was she would draw all her money out of the bank, and I would help her. I would write on the envelopes rent, car, groceries, holiday, and certain amounts of money would go into those envelopes. And do you know that when I got into my first job, I did the envelope system? Look at me, you know, financially free. But I wasn't free at all. I was just putting money in envelopes because that's how I was taught, you know. And Mom, I love you. It was a great system, but now I've learned a lot more. It taught me how to budget. It just didn't teach me how to save. Very true.
This is why I think like it's important for parents to really work on their money stories.
Yes.
And it often comes from just trying to remember your money, those beliefs about money that you hold from childhood, because everything comes from childhood. We are doing the best we can with the information we have.
And so talking long-term goals, what steps can someone take to transition from managing day-to-day finances to focusing on long-term investments?
The first thing I would say is to get a percentage of your salary, of your monthly income, and put it aside for your future.
So that's that tax we were talking about almost.
Like exactly. Think about it, like starting with, if it's 5%, do it 5%. If it's 10%, if it's 20%, like the more the better. But really it's important to set aside and practice the principle of pay yourself first, which is something that I learned from Robert Kiyosaki. Pay yourself first. As soon as salary hits the bank account, take that money away. It's crazy. I don't know if you've seen the documentary Buy Now, which is on Netflix.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
And it's really like how all these big companies, big conglomerates, they're using all these techniques to make people buy more. Yes, so that's why pay yourself first. Take a portion of your salary and put it aside. And when you put it aside, I would say divide it into two things. Number one, building an emergency fund. It can go under different names. So some people call it rainy days fund. Yes. So emergency fund, which is having 3 months of living expenses in a high yield savings account. So not the normal bank account that gives you nothing.
Yes.
One bank account that will give you
interest.
Some interest, at least to keep up with inflation.
Right.
And so the number of months of living, not salary, but living expenses will depend on how fast it's for you to find a new job or a new source of income, because that is meant to give you peace of mind and a buffer if something unexpected happens, which always happens.
Yes.
Unexpected things happens all the time. So your car breaks down, you have an emergency surgery, you need to fly back home urgently. Just anything that may happen, at least it will not disrupt or shake your normal month-to-month financial life. Or it can be like a loss of income. So how long, for example, if one person loses his job, how confident are you in the time that will take you to get a new job? And that will depend on person to person. So some people will have 3 months, some other people will have 6 months, some other people have 1 year. But the idea is that it gives you peace of mind. So that is your emergency fund. That is money that you do not invest.
You don't touch it either.
It's not money for vacations.
It's not vacation money.
Yes, it's truly emergencies. And then the other portion is for long-term investments. Build your financial future.
Literally 3 steps. Take that portion of money, pop it in, separate it into 2, emergency fund, and then building financial stability and future.
And once you hit your emergency fund number, then you divert everything towards investments. And then the rest of the money you can spend guilt-free. And I think that is so important, because sometimes we think that we will not enjoy our lives if we are investing or saving for the future. This is not supposed to be like a diet.
Yeah.
That because diets
they don't work.
So the idea is to be able to spend on the things that bring us joy and taking care of our financial future.
So we're almost closing out. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from your journey in wealth creation?
Is to improve my relationship with money and to trust really that I am safe regardless of the circumstances. Just to trust my capacity to figure things out. About 3 years ago, my husband lost his job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not working by the time. I was like, I resigned
from hospitality.
Yes, I resigned from hospitality. I was building my business. I don't think I was making money yet.
Yeah.
And he lost his job. We were already having the emergency fund. So I remember I was just trying to control the situation and thinking it has to be this way or no way. I think like the moment I calm myself down and trusting, okay, if I came all the way to Peru, going through what I went through here, I'm sure I can figure things out. I'm sure other doors are going to open. And so, if we have to leave, let it be. Leave. We are going to find something else. I trust in my husband's capacity to find something. I trust in my capacity to find something. And so I think even if there is a big disruption that we have to leave, that the kids have to leave school, that is still a very strong lesson and life learning, because they will see firsthand how we handle challenges in life. Like life is not just a series of events that are perfectly light one after another. Life is not like that.
Not at all.
And so when we have challenges, we really build resilience, resourcefulness, and that is something that will make us thrive no matter the circumstances.
And they don't teach it in school.
No,
they don't teach.
They teach you that if you fail the test, your badge is red color, and is shame on you, which is not healthy at all.
Growing up, I wish I had someone to tell me it's okay to fail and it's important to fail and you should fail, because that's where you find your power. So what's one piece of financial advice you believe everyone should unlearn?
We need to work for money, and that is the only option. Just working and having like the same years, time will pass.
There is no, you live the same life every year. I watched a client of mine sent me a YouTube of a TED talk, and the woman was talking about, you are a different person every year, so live that way, because then you're just living the same life over and over again. You're never growing, and it's redundant. And you saying that now, it gives me goosebumps because we have to disrupt this. We've got to.
Yes.
No one else is going to do it, and it's going to take you, me, and the rest of our community to do such things. So unlearning that we don't have to always be working a 9 to 5 to earn money.
Build that financial freedom that gives you options to choose what you are doing with your time. We only live once. To really honor ourselves. Like, we are here on this planet not just to pay our bills.
You want to be financially free.
Yes.
And I don't want to just live for the weekend and live to, okay, I've got this much money to pay that, and then I've got nothing left. I've got 2 more questions for you. The one that I'm going to ask is what I call an impact or legacy question. So at the end of each episode, I like to ask my guests something I call the impact or legacy question, because I believe we have an impact on the lives we touch, often in ways we can't see directly. So as we wrap up, the second last question is, I'd love to know what's one unseen or invisible impact you hope to leave behind, not just from this conversation, but in your life's work.
I want to impact 1 million women in taking control of their financial futures. And I truly believe that is going to create ripple effects, not just in their families, but really in the world.
Where can people connect with you for more information on what you do, your social media, your website? Have you got workshops running? Tell us about what you offer.
I go by the handle This Mama Invests.
I will tag that so people have a link.
And I have different type of resources. I have free resources, I have paid resources. So I run, like, for example, free masterclass, like, very often. I do it live, and I have others that are just like running 24/7. I have a mentorship, group mentorship, to learn all about investing and making your money grow faster than you ever imagined. And also I'm doing some workshops, like in-person workshops here in Doha, to make your first investment.
So I want to say thank you so much, Malu, for giving up your time today and sharing your insights on financial health.
Thank you so much, Lexi, for this opportunity. Many people don't talk about.
I don't think this is going to be the last one we'll have. We'll have many, many more discussions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening, and remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Instagram to get alerts of our next episodes. Leave a review and a comment, rate us, and send us messages on what you would like to hear on the podcast. And here is to your health.